Hey guys, welcome back. As a quick shout out to our new subscribers to the channel. Appreciate you guys being here. Hope I can help you learn something. So today what I've got for you is an item lock combination for any secret passageways that you want to keep hidden, and then you have to know the code to input in order to open the doors. So we will look right into it here, and we've got this sort of already set up. Um, The codes to make this one work is going to be the candle with the wax pointed to the left side there. We'll take this lectern and put this on page 14, or I'm sorry, 28 out of 30, giving us a 14 signal strength. And then we've got a bookcase here. This is a new one for 1.20. It's still a little bit buggy with how it works, but I can still show you. Now, even though we have 4 books in slot here, this isn't actually the right code because it's still registering a 5th book. And so we're going to take out this book, and then that's going to make it at 4. And just to show that it's at 4, we'll replace that book so you can see that it's 4. And again, that's just the bug that it's been coded with right now. That's how it works. It reads the last book placed and the last book taken out, and so it outputs that specific signal strength. And so we've got this last bookcase here that we'll need to take some books out of as well, because it is a 4 combination lock. So it uses the item frame, the lectern, this bookshelf, and then this bookshelf as well. And we need to get this down to 5. And so again, even though there's 4 books in the shelf, it's still reading a 5th book that was yoinked out. So it's still outputting 5. So we'll just replace that so that you can clearly see that there are 4 in this one and 5 in this one. And so then the door opens on this side, and then if any of these are even slightly messed up, this isn't going to work. And so we can take this and put it on 15, door will still shut. Go down to 12, the door stays shut. So it needs to be on the correct pages for the lectern, the correct position in the item frame, and the correct number of books. And again, the books are just a little bit weird, but we'll go over that. So once that's completed, then we can go through the door and then take a look at the design in the back here. Pretty standard item combination lock design. You've just got your comparator coming out of each of the items that are on the wall there, and then they flow into redstone dust for however many blocks we want, and then we place the torches. And then the repeaters on the ends here are in case somebody sends too much power. That way the torch stays lit up and the door stays shut. Because for example, if we were to break this line here and give it power, any of the torches that are lit up will provide that same power as if this torch were. So that's what we've got for you today. We'll just show you how to build it. If you don't care to see the tutorial on the building, then I appreciate you stopping by, and have a good day. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get right into it. What you will need for this tutorial, if you are going to build it exactly like I do, you're going to need 2 chiseled bookshelves, you're going to need 12 books, you're going to need 1 item frame, 1 black candle. That doesn't have to be a black candle. This can be literally anything that you can rotate on an item frame. So redstone torches, any block in the game, so long as you know the direction it needs to be facing. And then regular torches, even redstone dust, pistons, literally anything can go in the item frame. But you'll also need the lectern, the book and quill. You'll need 4 redstone torches, 4 comparators, 5 repeaters, 2 sticky pistons, building blocks of your choice, and then you will need some redstone dust. So let's go ahead and get started by pulling all this off my inventory here and getting the building blocks. And so we'll just go ahead and start with a basic structure design here. So let's say we've got, let's say it's that long. And then we're just going to put in the sides here. And again, on this side, we'll put some sides on. and then we will also make a floor. Now your room doesn't have to be this big. You will need, for all of the redstone in the backside, you will need at least 1 block up. So if you are building right on the lowest tier of the ground, this probably won't work for you. You will need to build a couple blocks higher than that. All right, so from here we're going to get out our item frame and whatever it is that you want to have rotated on the item frame. This doesn't have to be a candle, it can literally be any block in the game because they all rotate on the item frame. So we will just go a couple of spaces from the edge of the wall here and go ahead and place the item frame. If we're going to use 4 for this combination lock, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. We could go at least on the third one here and should be fine. So we will place one there and we will put our candle on it. And then once you have your piece on the item frame, go ahead and rotate it to whatever signal strength you're going to want it rotated to. Because once we start doing the redstone on the back side here, you will see that each rotation has a signal strength output, and if you start on the default, which is wick up here, that'll be 1 signal strength out, so you could just count 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to do 7 for this first one for the tutorial, and then you want to take your blocks on the other side and make sure that they are lined up correctly. So we'll just break this block above it so that we know on the back side where we need to build. So we're gonna take the comparator straight out of this back block here with the item frame. So to place that, we actually have to go 1 down and place a block, then grab comparator and then place the comparator, and you'll see that it lights up, which is perfect. If this doesn't light up, then you may have placed your comparator on the wrong block that doesn't match up with the item frame. So just keep that in mind. And so now that we have 7 signal strength coming out, we are going to need at least 7 blocks. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we will take our redstone dust and fill up that. And now we actually want to go 1 further until you see a redstone dust block that is not lit up, not powered. That signifies that if someone were to rotate it too far, then you're going to trigger the redstone repeater that we're going to place, and then that is not what you want. But before we get to the repeater, we'll take our redstone torches here, and on the last lit up signal that you have here for the redstone dust, you're going to place a torch. I like to place my torches when making these locks on the same side that the door will be opening and closing from. So in this specific scenario, we're going to have our door opening and closing right about here. And so I'm going to place all my torches on this side of the pillars here. So as you'll notice, the redstone torch does turn off when you place it, which is exactly what you're looking for. Now we will create the circuit to where if the redstone dust goes too far, gets too powered, it'll keep the door closed the whole time. So from the last piece of redstone dust that's not lit up, you're going to go 1, 2 blocks. You're going to place a redstone repeater right here on the first one, and then you're going to place a redstone dust on the next one. And then you just want to connect the redstone dust to the torch, like so. And it's all powered off currently. And so if we were to rotate this 1, it'll get an extra piece of juice. And so you'll see that the rest of this kind of fills up, which is not what you want because that will keep the door off, right? These have to be lit up in order to get the door on. So we will go ahead and put it back on the signal it needs to be on. And then we will go ahead and make our door area, which I know is going to be right here. This can be literally wherever you want it, as long as you can get it set up. And if you do need help, drop me a comment. I might be able to help you in the comment section there. So we're going to go back 2, and then we're going to place sticky pistons, 1 here and 1 on top. Make sure they're both facing into the blocks here. And then we're going to place 1 redstone dust here. And then we're going to make it a little ladder down to the dirt. So all of our combination lock redstones are going to connect up to this. This is what will power the door. All right, so we will go ahead and take this one and then just run it over until it connects, just like that. And now if we were to turn this to too much power, it closes the door, as you can see, because we don't want too much power, right? And then if you go too little on the power, this is a 1, remember, 2, 3, 4, we don't get the door open at all. It has to be on the signal that we have the same torch on, which is 7 in this first one's case. So from here, we are basically done with how the combination lock is created. So you can do as many of these as you want. I will go ahead and do the other 3, and then I will kind of explain some of the things as we go. So for the next one, what we want to do is place one block, because we're going to do a lectern next. So we'll place a block here for the lectern to sit on. We will just get rid of those 2, and then place the lectern, and then we're going to take our book and quill, and you want to set this to page 30 of 30. As you can see, I've already done it with this one, but you'll want to set yours to 30 of 30 and then write something on this last page so that it saves how many pages are in the book. If you don't do that, you're going to get an edited book that is not going to have the right number of pages. It might say like 29 out of 29, which is not what you want. But I like to just put signal strength outputs for each page. So we got 15 on the last one, and then 14 on this one, 13, and so on and so on. And you can basically just take how many pages in the book there are, which you want to leave it capped at 30, and then you want to divide by 2, and that's going to get you your signal strength output. So if we're on page 20, divide that by 2, and you've got a 10 for an output signal strength. So we are going to, you can either sign the book before you close out of that, or just make sure that you have something on the last page, and it'll save it automatically like that. And then we will go ahead and place the book and quill, and we will set it to the output strength that we want for this combination. And this tutorial, we're going to have it on page 28 of 30 for a signal output of 14. So again, we're going to come to the back side here, and we're just going to make sure that it is still coming out of the correct spot, so we can break this block above it, and then that's the block where the comparator should be coming out of. So if that's the case, we need to drop a block right here, and then we'll put a comparator right here on top, and then boom, we've got it lit up, so we can cover the hole back up. Since we're going out 14, we'll just need to place 14 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then that should get us all powered up redstone. Except it's on page 1, so that's not quite right. So we'll go to page 14. And boom, now we have all of our redstone lit up. So again, we want to place a torch on the side, and that'll shut off. Then we want to place one more block and a redstone dust. And again, this one should be off, the last one you place. And then again, if somebody puts it on a signal strength of 15, so the last page in the book, we need to create that repeater lock again, or repeater detector again. So we're going to place 2 blocks on the ground. We're going to place 1 redstone repeater right there, and then a redstone dust right there. And then again, you want to connect the redstone dust from the repeater over to the torch. Oops, so that if it has too much power, this isn't going to work. So once that's done, you also are going to want to connect all of these redstone torches over to the next area. It doesn't have to be to the torch itself. It can straight up be into this repeater section if you like. So that's what we'll do. We'll just go down here to here, and then that'll connect over to that as well. In order to test that, to make sure that it is working, we'll just need to make sure that we have the correct signal output set to these, right? So we have the wrong signal output currently. You'll see that the torches are both on, and then all the redstone line is lit up, giving power to the pistons, keeping it shut. And so if we were to set the candle to the correct position, so as we can see in the back here, we've got the correct power output to both of these lines, which is why the redstone torches are off. And as I said earlier, that if you go more than 15 blocks, you will need to place a spare repeater down. In this case, we do have too far, because if we go and check This one, if we just put it on 15 or any other number that's not the correct one, we'll see that we get signal strength out to here, but then it does die right about here. So one of the things you can do to make this a little bit better for you is just place a redstone repeater right there. If you want to place it back here, you're more than welcome to. It doesn't have to be right there. I usually like to go to about the last space that it has power and then just place it there. This repeater being here will ensure that there are always enough spots left for the redstone dust to go to make it. So now that we've got too much power and the correct power, the door stays shut. If we go back to 14, the door opens. And if we change this, the door closes. If we change this all the way to the first page here, the door stays closed, and it didn't open at all, right? So we would hear it open. Maybe I can get it to where we can see it too. Yeah, so we'll see it open if we get to the correct signal output. So we'll put the candle on the right one, and then we'll just count the book up until it opens. Should be 14. Perfect. Just to check, if we get a 15, it does close again. So we'll leave it on 14 for now as we finish up the rest of these. All right, so the next thing we want to do is get out the most complicated part of this, which is the bookshelves, the chiseled bookshelves. And we're going to create one here, and we're going to put one here. So again, we will go ahead and break a block out of the top of each so that we know where our comparators should be placed into. So it should be this block below the hole. So we'll place a block here, we'll place a block here. We'll put a comparator on each. And as you'll see that they don't light up, and that is because there are no books in the chiseled bookshelf. Now, the bookshelf is a little bit odd, the way that it's been coded right now. I'm sure that this will get patched at some point, but what it's doing is reading the last book placed and the last book taken. So if I were to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks right here, because there's only 6 spots in the chiseled bookshelf here, and we were to just place one book, we get a light up, and then we'll place redstone dust all the way across this, and you'll see that it's got one redstone dust right there. Now, if you take that book out, even though there's 0 in the bookshelf, like I said, it is based on what was removed or what was put back in. So we still have a 1 out here. You will never get this down to 0. Not ever. So we'll go ahead and set the combination for this one that we want. We'll say it's 4, and then we should see 4 redstone dust in the back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now again, if I were to place, even if I were to remove this one, it remembers that there was a 4th book removed, so you're still going to see 4 signal strength output in the back. And in order to move it down to 3, we'd actually have to remove another book to get it to 3. And then we can replace that book and it stays at 3 because it's remembering that there was only a 3rd book placed, a 3rd book removed, right? So to get it back to 4, we'll put 1 more book in, and then that's the 4th book placed. So we don't actually need this many since we're going to use 4 for the combination on this one. So we'll move these last 2 here. Make sure that you have 1 redstone dust that's off. We'll go ahead and place a torch here, and then we will go ahead and create the redstone repeater checker. So like so, place 2 blocks, redstone repeater, and then 1 redstone dust, and then again connect that redstone dust up to the torch. Make sure it's directly under the torch. So if we move the books down to the 3rd, place a 3rd book so that you know for sure we have 3 here, the redstone torch comes on. So now what we want to do is connect that line over to this repeater here. So we will just find a good spot, which is this one here, and just come across like so, and then into the repeater. And so it fires, and as long as there's 1 redstone torch on, this will stay closed. All right, so we've got 3 books. We'll go ahead and place our 4th book. The door should open. We'll cover this hole back up, and then this line is complete. So on to the last line. What we're going to do is we'll do 5 books in this one. All right, and then we're going to go to the other side here. We've already got the comparator, so we're going to place out 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then put redstone dust on top. And then again, we should have 1 last redstone dust be off. And then place your torch. Make sure the torch goes off. and then you're going to create the redstone repeater checker circuit. So redstone repeater and then a redstone dust, and then you're going to connect these again to the redstone repeater. And it is okay if it connects through this back section here. That just means we don't need to connect this front one over to any of the other lines because they are already connected to the back one. So if we close up this hole here, and then we remove a book, and then we remove another book, because if you remember, even removing one book, it still thinks there's 5 in there. So we remove 4 books, and then the door shuts because the redstone torch is on and it is providing power all the way to the repeater. So that is pretty much it. We'll just place these books back to get the right combination in, and then there you go. You have got a combination lock with different options for whichever one you might want to try. And then if you want to make it more fancy looking, just get some bookshelves here, and then you can just sort of create like a bookshelf section, right? And then if you want to be the only one that knows what goes where, then you just reset this every time you leave it, or at least put it on some signal strengths that are incorrect, and then people will have a hard time figuring it out. This alone is some, I think, over 1,000 combinations that it could be. So this is quite hefty as far as privacy goes. So that's pretty much it. You can decorate your room however you want, obviously, but this is all I got for you for this tutorial. I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like. If you disliked it, leave a dislike. Appreciate your time, and have a great day.